Hello buddy and welcome to my channel. We are continuing our Kotlin Basics tutorial or class, and in this chapter we are going to take a look at what is when function and how to use when function, what are the uses of the when function and everything related to it. But before we begin, I would like to let you know that this video has been brought to you by Honey. Honey is a free Chrome extension which automatically find and apply coupon codes when you shop online. Stop searching for coupon code in sales, click on the Honey button during checkout and Honey will automatically apply coupon codes to your shopping cart. Just click the link given in the description down below to learn more. Now let's go ahead and begin. Start your IDE, go to SRC, create a new file and name it something like when. Once you do that, use your main function, pass the arguments with array and a data type string, and after that let's go. Now let's discuss what exactly is when. In the previous video we discussed what was if and else. So basically we defined a condition inside of if function that if it is true, the data or the parameters inside of the if function will be displayed or it will be executed. But if the certain condition is not met, the body of the else statement will execute. So this was basically for like one or two, like one condition which you can just compare easily and do. But what if you want to use like multiple conditions? CUNDITIONS, if I can spell it correctly. Okay, what if you want a multiple condition? So for multiple conditions in certain programming languages like C++, we have something called switch, but we don't have switch in Kotlin, but we do have something called when. So now let's just go ahead and take a look at how to use the when and what are its uses. So first of all, we'll go ahead and type something like println, and we will add an input. We'll ask for input from a user. Let's just say enter a number, and since we have to store it inside of a variable, I will create a new variable, name it x. You will use a colon. I'll define a data type int, and after that, I'll press equals to, I'll press read line, I will add the not null operator, and I'll convert it to int because read line by default gets only string. So I will convert it to int. Very basic stuff we already discussed. Now let's go ahead and talk about the actual when function. So for when, we need to type when, of course, and then we should pass our variable, which in this case is x, because that's what we created. Okay, so we pass the variable x. We pass the variable x. Now let's go ahead and talk what happens inside x. So let's just go ahead and define some parameters. What if a user enters 1? If a user enters 1, we have to println println 1, or we can say something like, let's just say it's 1. What if a user enters something like 2? We can go ahead and println again it's 2. Standard stuff. We can also define a range. So for example, we can go ahead and say in 3 double dot, which means 3 to 10. If the user inputs something in between from 3 to 10, we have to println it's between 3 to 10. Okay, we can also go ahead and define other ranges. So for example, if a user enters something like 11 to 100, we will println println it's between 11 to 100. Now what if a user don't input 1 or doesn't input 2 or anything between 100? We need to use something called else. Also in this one, because we have to println something like println, let's give an error message, please, okay, not that, please enter value between 1 and 100. So this was basically the example. Using the when function, you can add some specific. So for example, if you know what the user can input, or like if you have a limited number of inputs, you can go ahead and assign a specific type of condition. And if you have something like a range, you can go ahead and define a range. And if the user goes out and enters something else, you should use the else. Now let's just go ahead and run it. Run when.kd and take a look at how it works. It will give us a message, enter a number. Let me just go ahead and enter 2. So it will say println it's a 2. Now let me just go ahead and run it once again. It will say enter a number, and what if I enter something like a 15? It will say it's between 11 to 100, which is correct. And now we are just going to run it once again, and what if in this case, instead of entering something between 1 to 100, I will enter something like 105. It will say please enter a value between 1 and 100. So basically this was how you can use the when or the switch inside of Kotlin. If you like this video, please leave a like or subscribe to this channel, hit the notification icon, and be sure to check out Honey. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.